So I did not really discover cluttering, I just stumbled upon cluttering, and I just really, I mean, I knew I had some, issues with my speech, and I did not know what it was. Like exactly, I didn't know the problem of what it was called. So I was just trying to like find it through internet, and I searched in Google for many times, and then I think I maybe saw the word called cluttering, and like before, for me, like cluttering was a like thing which happens to your room, like messed up room. So it's like cluttered room. I felt like is this like is this even a real name? And I think, and then I found about the cluttering Facebook group, and then I posted about my story there, and yeah, I just said it before, like maybe Johan said me, oh, this is cluttering, and yeah, this might help you. And like many people also commented on my post, and I found about cluttering from there, and that was my introduction to cluttering. It's a very good question. And so first of all, like I did not know much about speech therapy and all before I stumbled upon this word or this issue. And I also like had this mind that a mentality that like speech therapy is only taken when a children has lisp, or like a person has stroke. And I did not feel that like the field is so broad. And so like before going to any therapy, I just looked upon all this thing by my own. And yeah, when I found about it, I then went to therapy. It's like I did not go to therapy and then found about this. It's like quite the opposite of what happens to most people. So I think in Nepal it's not a like people don't know much about it, and even among the speech language pathologists, I think this is not really an issue that's really well researched upon. I mean, they might have heard about this, but I think they have not really met with people with cluttering, and they have not dealt with people with cluttering extensively. So yeah, it's a problem. Yeah. I just had like I just had that moment of acceptance, because I felt, oh, this is something which happens to like many people. It's not that I only have this. I'm not alone in this. I just like the first thing I had was a feeling of acceptance and a feeling of being able to change, because I knew what it was. Then I felt when I know what the problem is, I can try to change this problem, or let's say at least adjust some of it. So it's like when you can name the dragon, then you can kill the dragon. So it was kind of like similar feeling. Yeah, like I feel like I find it's very fascinating that cluttering is more pronounced in our native language. So it's like might be in Dutch you might have like more issue with cluttering. So for me, like in Nepali, I have more issue with cluttering, and while speaking English, it's not that much pronounced. It's sometimes when I'm very excited, it like it does like uh, it does become an issue. But normally it's not an issue for me when I speak in English, because like compared to while I'm speaking Nepali, it's much slower. And also like in Nepali, like the words are really a bit hard, difficult to pronounce. So like English is not that much of stress, while speaking. So linguistically, Nepali is, I mean, I feel like Nepali is more difficult, and especially the sounds in Nepali, it's like difficult to pronounce. So like for example, like English speakers, they can't really pronounce R properly, many of them. So like in Nepali, we have that use of of like all of the what do you call speech producing box of like Nepali. We have many dental sound, palatal sound, like guttural sound, and in like English is fairly smooth. So I feel more struggle while speaking Nepali. So yeah, I think for me, I have not done like therapy very extensively. So it's only been like 10 or 12 sessions so far. And the best thing I can say from this therapy session is that I have learned about my pattern of speech. Like I now know like how I speak and how I come across to a listener. So like I have that empathy with listener, because like before I used to think, oh, I speak just like you, and why didn't you understand? But now I understand about what the listeners feels when I speak the way I speak. So the first thing and the very important thing is that I have now empathy about the listener. So uh, with that awareness, I try to just be normal, like at least try to slow down, and just it's like when I have to give a very important, presentation, or a very important conversation, with the person one on one. I just try to focus very, 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 very vigorously, and that really helps with us. Like with people with cluttering, it's like when you focus, you can, at least adjust it for some time. So yeah, like people with stuttering, they just when they are more self-aware, then it tends to get worse. So like yeah, I mean I find so many like differences between cluttering and stuttering. So it's like I think maybe it's opposite in many ways. I think the first thing I focus on is like maybe I think for me, like when I am anxious, then my cluttering tends to get worse. So yeah, first of all, I tend to be like aware of my body. It's like what I'm feeling right now. Maybe I'm feeling anxiety, or maybe I'm feeling excitement, maybe I'm happy. It's like, and when I know what I'm feeling, I just try to bring my awareness to being being in a normal mood, not in a mood of anxiety and excitement. And then I take some few deep breaths, and that really makes me relaxed. And then I try to speak as if uh, as if I mean I try to speak without any emotion. It's like just trying to be mindful. So mindfulness also helps a lot. And then yeah, deep breaths, which helps me to form, like think, and helps me to speak smoothly, because like when I am speaking in a what do you call speaking in like thin air, I just like it's like it's very, very difficult to really even pronounce few words. So yeah, and when you have like deep breaths, you just speak very, for that moment you speak very, very fluently, not very, very fluently, but kind of normally. So breathing, the first is awareness, and then breathing, and then yeah, like putting more effort. So yeah, it's like so a person without cluttering, or a fluent person, they can speak fairly fluently without any like much thought. So it's like very natural for them. But for me, especially, I just have to like give so much of effort, yeah, and then only I can come across as a normal fluent person. Yeah, that's very difficult, of course, because like we are human beings, and we have to deal with like myriad of emotions. So it's not really easy to be mindful always. So sometimes I just forget about all these techniques, and I just like I just what do you call I just get swept by the emotions, by the moment. And yeah, it's not like I can control all of these, I can use all of these methods always. But when I use this, it really yeah, it really affects the way I speak, and makes me fairly normal, like fluent. So I think yesterday, or maybe day before yesterday, I went to my college, and I was just trying to explain, like the football match between Barca and Granada. So I was just trying to explain how Barca came back from like came from behind to win the match. And like I was very, very excited, because I'm a fan of Barcelona. So I mean, I was just trying to explain all of the things to my friend, and I think I started very, very normally. And then when when I was in the middle of the explanation, I just went so fast, and I could feel that I could feel that I was not really being understood by my friend, because like they were trying so hard to understand my my words. and I feel like calm down. I was trying to say to myself, calm down, and yeah, like I was going in a very fast flow, and I just tried to calm down, and yeah, at that moment I could not really, like start like restart fluently. It's like, yeah, like in these moments I have like stuttering like discrepancies. It's like when I know I'm speaking fast, and when I know, you know when I know like in the middle, it's like when I try to restart, i I struggle with stuttering like discrepancies. So yeah, it depends on like who is listener. So if the listener is somebody of authority, or maybe somebody who is like in bank, or maybe in office, then like it produces anxiety in me. But if the person is my friend, my family, I just feel okay, just restart, because like there's not much of embarrassment and all those things. It's like in bank, if you go to bank and the person, like there's a line of people who is trying to do the same thing, and you of course feel more stressed, because like you have to convey the message without much effort. I mean, without consuming much of time. So yeah, in those moments, it produces anxiety.
As you like, as we all know, as you know, as I know from experience, it's not really easy to cope with cluttering. It's like, people, like in movies, in books, people try to romanticize, people who are different. So it's like in real life, it's not really that romantic. It's like you of course get like many problems uh, when you are different. Like when you are not normal. So yeah, it's like for a few, for a few months, I was like really, I was not really accepting of my issue. I was not really, I mean, I felt like I was not really different. I feel I I speak normally. So the first thing was, you know first thing was trying to accept that I have really an problem, an issue. And yeah, it took me some time to really accept I have a problem, or I have I have a difference which I need to adjust to really, to really work properly in the world. Like, especially, in the future, when I go to work, it's really important that I speak well, because like the first thing in every job, is like soft skills is like a very good communicator. So when I see that, it really, scares me. Motivation of taking the therapy is trying to adjust, so I don't really face seeing the first requisite for the job, which is a good communicator. So the mental part of it is, so now I think I have impressed that. So I have like read a lot about cluttering, and also like other speech discrepancy, like like stuttering and apatia, and like many other discrepancies. And I feel like it's really like we are blessed to even think, because like thinking, it is a process that consists of billions of neurons. And even this simple thing is like, it's like very complex, and we take it for granted. But as I know about this, and as I have this experience, I just feel, I mean, grateful now, at least now, that I can like, at least think, and I can write. Like I write poetry, and I love writing. And sometimes it's not really fluent while I speak, but at least I can put my thought in. It's not like I can put it fluently all the time, but sometimes I have a problem. But I think, yeah, I will take this, I'll take this, what do you call, so like for me now, I take it as an opportunity, like, because of this, I came across speech therapy. I came across speech language pathology. I came across people like you, and like I'm giving interviews, and I feel like I'm part of community. It's like, yeah, like sometimes I feel frustrated. There's some, like there's some frustration, especially in a stressful situation. So yeah, my aim now is to try to mitigate and try to reduce the frequency of it. But I think I feel grateful. Like I feel really grateful now. I think personally, I think that's true. Because I also feel like my mind, it's like racing very very fast, and I can catch up with all the thoughts, and like I can really produce speech the way I think. It's like and, like I feel like, as I have heard like Kathy talk about this, also you want to talk about this, like people with cluttering, they like tend to have, like higher IQ. It's like it's not really that empirically based, but according to their clinical experience, they say like people with cluttering, they often come up as a person, who are like who have high IQ. I think, yeah, I feel like this is a blessing as well. It's like a, what do you call, a drawback of a blessing, that you think fast. Yeah, I think worst. I think, yeah, I think the so the first interview which I gave for my college, you know, that was, I mean, I love, so that time I did not know about cluttering, so I went there, and the interview, like was for the admission, and like two of my professors were there, and I was, you know and I just knew about that, I speak fast, and I just want to come like speak slowly. Like I had that fear initially, and I went there, and you know when I started to speak, and they just like commented on the middle that, oh, you speak fast and things like this. And from there, my college experience has been bad, because it's like, as you say, the first impression is the last impression. So like I'm trying hard to overcome that first impression, of college. So I think that was one,
Yeah.
like that was very bad experience. And also another bad experience was, I was giving presentation, and I think I was giving in Nepali. So like presentation in Nepali, not in English. So the previous, presentation was in English, and this was in Nepali. And like the professor, like he was kind of old, like into his, like 70s, and like while I was giving presentation, like he stopped me in the middle and said, why are you speaking so loud and so fast, and things like this. And like I was like, I just became freeze, I became paralyzed that time. And that was, I think, yeah, these two are, especially this, second one is my worst experience with cluttering. Um, so like as I said, I started to clutter just recently when I was in grade 9 or 10, and like it only became, as a problem, as a cluttering before 3 or 4 years ago. So I think 3 years ago, because like before, I used to speak fast, but people used to understand me, like the first hand. Only after like 3 years ago, people used to like ask me twice or thrice to repeat. I think, yeah, like I used to speak fast, like fairly fast, but it only became cluttering, like this fluent speech when I like when like before 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
So like after the, like my speech became cluttering, like I I think my best speech was during a presentation. So the presentation was about, like philosophy. So I'm really into philosophy. So I really knew about this topic very well. And I also had like practice about like the presentation for few minutes before the presentation. Maybe I practice around 1 hour, you know and then I really, uh, really I was really fluent on that presentation. And like all of the friend and also teacher was saying, oh, you did great. And like of course, like I spoke fast, like compared to other people, but still I was like very fluent. And like all of them like the presentations. It's like, it's like normal people, see you as a person who is this fluent, and or who is not a good speaker. So that time I, all of them were saying you did well, you spoke fluently, and things like this. So yeah, I think that was my best experience of having a fluent speech when my speech started to become cluttering, like so. So of course, as a person who has this impediment, like obviously you feel like you feel proud, feel like you feel it's an achievement that you come up, that you at least for a while gave the speech very fluently. So you came as a fluent speaker for maybe 10 minutes, and that is a achievement. Because like uh, for me personally, it's like when I have to talk extensively, so it's like I will stumble, when I have to say, long sentences. So it's like if if I only have to speak about how are you, like, and things like this, and I'll not be this fluent, but if I have to like talk about things like very, very extensively, then yeah, I will be more fluent. So like for 10 minutes I was fluent. So of course that's a really, really great achievement, you know.